always come back to is like, whatever is going on in the world, that's the world. And what can I do? What can I do as David Miller today? What difference can I make?
Yeah.
The world's doing its own thing. What can I go out and do and have a positive impact? What do I want to see in my world? I want to see a day where there's no children starving. I want to see a day when everybody is on an equal playing field.
Mm-hmm.
I understand there can't be like a utopian society, but I also believe that if people are reaching out and trying to help one another, that it could be so much more than it is. Like, we have so many resources and so much potential that we have nowadays that we didn't have 20, 30 years ago. And it kind of bothers me from time to time that, like, we're not doing more for other people.
Right.
And so I think that'll come with time. I think there's just a lot of things that have happened in the past that are kind of going on. And it's another thing. I don't want to, talk about the news too much, but like, I do feel like there's a fear component that, like, both, like, that's good for them because people get sucked into it, because that's kind of like our mental thing to be attracted to fear, because it's something we need to be aware of.
Yeah.
Like, you take that back 10,000 years ago, like, you don't want to go to the tree where, caveman Bob got eaten,
like saber-toothed tiger mauled him.
Everybody says, hey, this is the route you don't want to go. Like, you're going to be fearful of it. And you're like, okay, well, I'm listening to this information.
Yeah.
When, all actuality, maybe that was 20 years ago. There's never been a saber-toothed tiger since. Like, why can't you go to that tree? You kind of build up this mindset of, like, going this way is the wrong way.
Yeah. Healthcare is too expensive. We can't have healthcare. Who's going to pay for it? Well,
where there's a will, there's a way.
Right.
It's hard. I mean, there's a ton of people in the world. There's a lot of different opinions, and it kind of comes back to what we were saying earlier. Is like, you got to be open-minded. You got to hear the other person, the other side, whatever. And, if you can't agree on something, then you agree on a middle ground, and you look to see what you can do to be empathetic and understanding and treat others like you want to be treated. Like, it always comes back to that. So,
seems we're at a real crossroads with that in our country right now.
Yeah, there's arguably a lot of civil divide, if you will. But the other part of our country is like, we have a deep sense of, like, pride for being Americans, for being hardworking, and we're gonna help lift up our brother and our sister by their bootstraps. Even if they don't have bootstraps, we're going to lift them up either way. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
We're intuitive. We're imaginative. We'll get the job done because we care. And I think along the way life is always challenging, and I can imagine trying to be, higher up in affecting the country in such profound ways. And it's hard. I mean, there's just some things that, like, you can take a quote unquote good person and ask them a question, and sometimes they're gonna be like, dude, I don't know. That's a big question. And again, kind of where I think a lot of things stem from or end up going is, like, from a place of fear of, like, this is happening, where else can it go, and that kind of thing. So I don't know, you got to take it with a grain of salt, but I think the best way to approach it is to really try and watch out for that person, treat them how you want to be treated, and try and find a middle ground that you guys can both stand on and speak about and communicate. And maybe it is like, we agree to disagree. This is the closest thing we can get, and we're going to go with it. But it needs to be improved. It's not perfect. It's not ideal. And so we're going to keep working on it. Whereas I think a lot of times, like, something comes up, it gets addressed, and it just kind of stays there. It's like, if it's not broke, don't fix it. But the question should be, like, if it could be better, then it's as good as broken, right?
Yeah.
Like, what can we do to improve something? If things continue to always be the way they are, like, we're not progressing. Like, things aren't getting better. We're not helping more people. We're not making things more efficient. We're like all those things. So, like, always seeking to treat others good and always asking what more can be done to be better. and having a positive outlook, like even in the bleakest of times, like having a positive mindset will do so much more.
I agree.
And so, you can always find the negative in things. You can always find what's wrong, but what good is that going to do in the end? Of pointing out where somebody stumbles or where somebody falls, rather than saying, you know what, this is what we're doing right. This is what you're doing right. This, you're excelling and you're doing great in this. Keep it up. Here's some areas where I think where you could improve, where I could improve. Listening to that constructive criticism, like, okay, well, I'm coming up short here. Like, what are you seeing that I can't? Because you have a different, perspective on things. You have a different, mindset. You had different experiences that, you're seeing something that I'm not, or you're seeing it from a different perspective. And I can say, you know what? I can be humble and say, you know what? I don't have as much knowledge on this, or I don't have your perspective, or I don't have your skill set, your experiences. What can you teach me, or, what can I learn from you, rather than saying, I'm going to put up a brick wall. I know everything.
Yeah. I think it takes conversations like this, where you sit down and you have this unfiltered just discussion about, because I think it's, to tie back in with technology, we want everything now and quick and fast and easy. That's why we're in this soundbite culture where, you only get a snippet, blips of a thing, of the most extreme position on this one thing.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, there's no room for discussion. There's no room for nuance. It's either this way or that way.
Yeah.
And life just don't work like that.
It doesn't.
Life is not red and blue. It's not black and white. It's purple and gray, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one reason why I like doing the podcast. I just like to sit,
You can hear the entire conversation. You're not just getting exactly what you said. You're not just getting those blips. You're getting to hear the whole thing, the whole person. And at the end of the day, like, it's that person's experience. You take the good from it, you learn from it, you apply it to your life, and people are always learning. Like you learn all the way up until the day you die.
You should never stop learning.
Never stop learning. Like even if you are not trying to learn, like you're still learning. Your brain's still making new neurons, new neurological connections, and so you can always go to that next level and learn from someone, from a group of people. And just because somebody has a different opinion than you doesn't mean you're right or they're wrong. It's just different. And it takes a big person to say, you know what, this person has a different opinion than me. They have a different stance. They have a different viewpoint, whatever it is, and say, you know what, but they're still a human being, and I'm going to treat them with respect.
Yeah.
I'll try and put my feet in their shoes as much as possible. And where I can't understand, I'll ask for input. I'll ask for more information. I'll seek that understanding rather than just saying I know enough.
Yeah. Can't put a price on empathy.
Yeah. Always being open. And I think that's what it comes back to. Like people always have different opinions, and that's good. It's good to have different opinions, because that's where innovation comes from. That's where progression comes from. That's where learning comes from. If everybody is the same, what a dull world it would be.
Oh God, yeah.
So it's a strength to have that different opinion. It's just acknowledging that strength and balancing out with seeking understanding.